Many mathematical statements assert that a property is true for all positive integers. For example, we know that sum of first n natural numbers is n into n plus 1 by 2. And for all positive integers n cube minus n is divisible by 3. And mathematical induction is one such proof technique which is used to prove results of this kind. Proofs using mathematical induction have two parts. First, they show that the statement holds for the positive integer 1. Okay? And second, they show that if the statement holds for a positive integer, then it must also hold for the next largest integer. So, mathematical induction is based on the rule of inference that tells us that if p of 1 and for all k, p of k implies p of k plus 1 are true. If they both are true for the domain of positive integers, then for all n, p of n is true. In general, mathematical induction can be used to prove statements that assert that p of n is true for all positive integers, where p of n is the proportional function. A proof by mathematical induction has two steps. First step is the basis step. We show that p of 1 is true. Alright, and then comes the inductive step. For all positive integers k, if p of k is true, then p of k plus 1 is true. That's what we'll prove. So, to prove for all k, p of k implies p of k plus 1, how we'll do this? So, if we just prove p of c implies p of c plus 1 for an arbitrary c from the domain of positive integers, then we can conclude using universal generalization that for all k, p of k implies p of k plus 1, right? And that's how we prove that. And we know the methods for proving conditional statements. Alright, we have seen the methods. One thing we should understand is that we have not still proved the validity of mathematical induction. All we know is that mathematical induction is based on the rule of inference that if p of 1 is true and for all k, p of k implies p of k plus 1 is true, then for all n, p of n is true. Now, but without proving this rule of inference, mathematical induction cannot be treated as a valid one. Although we have the intuition, we have not still officially proved it using our proof methods, right? We'll get to know why mathematical induction is a valid proof technique. So the reason comes from the well-ordering property. And to know what is well-ordering property, we must first understand what is a set. Alright, so a set is a discrete structure. Alright, so it's a discrete structure used for representing discrete objects. Informally, we can define a set as an unordered collection of objects. Alright, now an object of a set is also an element or member of a set. Suppose capital A denotes the set and small a denotes an element or member of set. We tell that A is a member of the set A by denoting this way. A belongs to A. And we tell that small a is not a member of set A by denoting this way, which means that A does not belong to A. Alright, now there are several ways to describe a set. One way is to list all the members of a set, and we list it within curly braces. Alright, so for example, we see that a set of vowels in the English alphabet, we can write it as A, E, I, U within curly braces. This is one way of representing or describing a set. And now set of odd positive integers which are less than 10. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that is O. And now without listing all the members of a set, we can also denote the set within curly braces as follows. So suppose we want to list all natural numbers less than 100. 1, 2, 3 up to 99. So this dot, this ellipses is one way of filling the gap. Some members of the set are listed, and then ellipses are used when the general pattern of the elements is obvious. So here 1, 2, 3 up to 99, we can understand that after 3, 4 comes, and after 4, 5 comes, and so on. That's why we represent like this, since it becomes obvious. Now, another way of describing a set is using the set builder notation. Alright, now we characterize all those elements in the set by stating the property or properties they must have to be members. So for example, the set O of all odd positive integers less than 10 can be written as, one way was to write it as 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So another way is to write it as set of all x such that x is an odd positive integer less than 10. Now which means that the set O is a set of all members x such that what is x? That is a property of x. X is an odd positive integer less than 10. So this is another notation to describe set. Alright. We often use this type of notation to describe sets when it is impossible to list all the elements of the set. For example, n, capital N denotes set of natural numbers, capital Z denotes set of integers, Z plus denotes set of positive integers, R denotes set of real numbers, Q denotes set of rational numbers. Alright, now we have seen enough of the introduction to set. Now we will see what is a subset of a set. For example, we take the set A equal to 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2 and 3 are the elements of the set A. Now if you see set 1, set 2, set 3, set 1, 2, set 1, 3, set 2, 3, set 1, 2, 3. That is every element in the set, that is entire set. And 5, the empty set or the null set, meaning there is nothing in the set. Alright, and so these are all the subsets of the set, because A is a subset of B if and only if every element of A is also an element of B. Alright, so given a set, two subsets of set are null set and the entire set. That is for sure. Alright, the remaining subsets depend on what is present in the set, original set. Okay. Alright, now we have known enough to know what is a well-ordering property is. Okay, so the well-ordering property says that every non-empty subset of the set of positive integers has a least element. Okay, so every non-empty subset of the set of positive integers. Now we consider the set of positive integers, and whatever non-empty subset you consider, non-empty subset means which are not empty. So without considering the empty subset, you consider all subsets of the set of positive integers. It is sure that every such set has a least element. So now we are going to prove the rule of inference P of 1, and for all k, P of k implies P of k plus 1 implies for all n P of n. So now we are going to do this using a proof by contradiction technique. Alright, so we suppose that the premises are true but the conclusion is false. That's how the proof by contradiction works, right? So if there is a conditional statement P implies Q, negation of P implies Q we assume to be true. Negation of P implies Q is nothing but P and not Q. Okay, so we assume that the premises are true but the conclusion is false. So which means that for all n, P of n is false according to our assumption. Okay, now if for all n, P of n is false, which means that there exists at least one n for which P of n is false. That's why for all n, P of n is false. So which means that okay, so obviously we can say that n is not 1 because we know from the premises that P of 1 is true. Okay, so from the step that there exists at least one n for which P of n is false, we can say that set S of positive integers for which P of n is false. So the set S is the set of positive integers for which P of n is false. So such n. Okay, and so such set is non-empty because we know that there exists at least one n for which P of n is false. Alright, now we apply the well-ordering property. Why? Because well-ordering property says that every non-empty subset of the set of positive integers has a least element. Now clearly set S of positive integers for which P of n is false is non-empty. Now which means that S has a least element m. Let's say the least element is m. Okay, so we know that m is not equal to 1 from our premise already. So now which means that m is greater than 1 and m is a positive integer, which means that m minus 1 is a positive integer, and when m minus 1 is a positive integer, we also know that m is the least element in the set S, so m minus 1 is not in that set, which also means that P of m minus 1 is true. If P of m minus 1 was false, then m minus 1 would have been included in the set S, right? So, which means that P of m minus 1 is true. Now look at our premise. So it says that for all k, P of k implies P of k plus 1, which means that P of m minus 1 implies P of m. So if P of m minus 1 is true, then it has to be the case that P of m is true from our premise. Okay? Now, here it is a contradiction, right? Because we assume that m is the least element for which P of m is false, right? So, assuming the negation of the statement, we have reached to a contradiction. So, it must be the case that the statement has to be true. So, the negation of the statement implies R and not R, which is a contradiction because R says that m is the least element. Not R says that m is not, because we got the other way. M is not the element because of our premise, right? P of m minus 1 implies P of m. So, assuming the negation of the statement, we get to the contradiction, which means that the statement has to be true. Which means that we have proved the rule of inference if P of 1 is true and for all k, P of k implies P of k plus 1 is true, then for all n, P of n is true. You have proved this using proof by contradiction and because of the well-ordering property. And that's why mathematical induction is a valid proof technique. Alright, now from the next lecture onwards, we will be starting set theory. We will look at mathematical induction in detail in the later part of our course.